Hello there. How are you doing? Well, today I wanted to do another fragrance review, and I wanted to review Proud of You Absolute. This is from Fragrance World. It is a clone of Stronger With You. And I thought I'd do a first impression. A first impression was requested of me recently. It's kind of a simple box. The fragrance is actually not even seated very well in there. That's okay. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, the bottle looks very similar to the actual. I don't know how it doesn't say on here how many ml it is. 100 milliliters, 3.4 fluid ounces. A little something nutty on the cap. The cap is a kind of weighted, feels metallic. It's probably a composite metal, but it feels metallic. It's weighted. That feels nice. The bottle's pretty heavy. Nice little amber kind of gradation of the color. And well, without further ado, now, I will say I was outside today. Oh, the atomizer's actually not bad. That's actually quite a decent atomizer. I was outside today, and I do have sunscreen on. Um, Luckily, I've brought one of these to test it as well. All right. So let's see what we're in store for. So right off the bat, we're getting some citrus notes. There's some kind of floral elements, lots of aldehydes, plenty of aldehydes, giving some thickness. Exaltolide, giving some thickness in the top note. There's some kind of gourmand aspect, a little bit sweet. Ozonic qualities. It's not sticking on the tester strip very well. So keep in mind, this is my first impression. I've never smelled this before. And in fact, this is kind of interesting. I've actually never smelled the original. So I don't know what the original smells like. This is going to be my first exposure to this DNA. There's a little bit of something, and by the way, I have not looked this up on Fragrantica either. I know that the original is very popular. I saw it on Amazon and decided to purchase it, so I really don't know anything about this. But there's something it's a little bit gourmand. There's something kind of there's like a vanilla patchouli. I almost want to say nutty. I have a feeling they used a material called Newsate, which reminds me a little bit of walnuts. And there's just a hint of something that reminds me of praline in this. But it's a lot of citrus coming off the top, a lot of citrus, and there's some florals and tons of aldehydes and some, I think there are some fatty esters in here. I'm not sure which material was used. Ozonic qualities, and then like the generic modern masculine notes, some ambroxan, some um, Isoe Super. Pardon me for bumping the microphone. Kind of a nice fragrance, maybe some cashmeran, just giving a little bit of thickness in the middle to the lower range. And some generic kind of ambery materials. Yeah, quite a bit of vanilla. Vanillin is the material that I'm detecting was used, and possibly some ultra vanilla as well. I'm not sure. I think that's my first impression. Is a kind of a vanilla gourmand with a lot of aldehydes and ozonic notes and some citruses, bringing lift and volume. And now let's go ahead and look it up on Fragrantica and see what they say. So here on Fragrantica, Proud of You Absolute Fragrance World for Men. Vanilla, woody, aromatic, balsamic, lavender, rum, warm, spicy, powdery, nutty, and fresh spicy. 4.45 out of 5 with 66 votes. It was launched in 2023. It says rum, LMI, bergamot, lavender, Divana, Madagascar vanilla, chestnut, cedar, and patchouli. So they think chestnut. Okay. Well, I have smelled things like this before. Um, there have been a few fragrances that I've smelled at Zara actually that smelled like this, and those were most likely clones of Stronger with You, Absolute, or Intensely as well. Um, and it does smell pretty nice. It's an incredible value. I'm pretty sure I paid $25 for this. I think you're going to get some pretty decent performance out of this. I think you're going to get 3 or 4 hours of pretty decent projection, maybe 2 hours of decent projection. But I think this is gonna stay with you for a while. At least other people will be able to smell it for a while. Due to the base notes being kind of a generic, modern men's fragrance, they tend to use a lot of the same notes. These notes tend to just lend to a certain level of performance, and pretty much everybody uses them. The benefit of that is that you get a lot of performance at a good price. The downside is that many of these fragrances smell almost functionally identical. And it really does have that kind of generic masculine thing. This DNA actually reminds me a lot of Parfums de Marly. So if you like fragrances from Parfums de Marly, I think that you're really going to like this DNA. Unfortunately for me, I don't really like this DNA, so um it's probably going to sit on my shelf a lot. To me, this is kind of one of the most overdone aroma profiles in men's perfumery. Pretty much everything smells like this now, so uh I'm a little disappointed actually. I also just generally don't like gourmand fragrances very much at all. And this is kind of like generic men's perfumery done with a gourmand twist. So it's kind of like doubly disappointing to me. I know that this DNA gets a lot of hype, and there's a lot of people who love it. So I'm sorry to disappoint if you're one of them. I think that it's talented perfumery, but it's not for me, if that makes sense. So let's see. From a perfumer standpoint, it's very well constructed. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 in terms of composition. Um, I think that this is my first impression, so I'm guessing, but you probably get like 6.5, 7 out of 10 in terms of performance. Um, and probably it will actually last longer than it projects. Um, and from an personal interest, like how much this perfume captivates me, I don't know, 3 out of 10, 2.5 out of 10. It's not because the fragrance itself is so bad or boring even. It's a very well done blend. It's just not the kind of fragrance that I like. So, uh, you know, it's better than some fragrances that I've smelled in terms of interest, but it's not good. And from a value perspective, I'm going to say this is like a 9.5 out of 10. This is probably one of the best values that I've seen because the price is super, super low, like $25, something like that, $20. And yeah, for that kind of DNA, you're going to smell very good. People are going to like it. I don't think that anyone's going to be mad you're wearing this. Kind of a generic, crowd pleasing Parfums de Marly style fragrance that pretty much everyone will like. So, everyone except me. So, yeah, that's going to be the review. I hope you enjoyed. And if you want to see more fragrance reviews in the future, please subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next one. Have a lovely night. Bye bye.